A couple staying at a nearby hotel recorded a video that showed debris and also gushing water in the underground parking garage of the condo in Miami that collapsed just last week. The situation, of course, is incredibly tragic. We're now learning about the number of deaths. It has risen to 18 deaths, and there are still 145 individuals who are unaccounted for. But what we're about to show you is the video that was filmed by the couple staying at a hotel nearby. It'll give you some more details about what happened just moments before the building's collapse. Let's watch. So you see the water gushing in the garage, and then before you know it, the building starts coming down. The couple watched as residents of the Champlain Towers South building rushed to their balconies, confused about the sound. Sarmiento, who's one of the people in this couple that filmed the video, said she and her partner Casparian scrambled into the street trying to wave for residents to evacuate, but they couldn't understand her. They didn't know what was going on, and it's so tragic because now we're also learning about how the building was built. And it seems as though the developers built the pool deck in such a way that made the entire structure vulnerable to this collapse. And I'll give you those details in just a second, but Cenk, why don't you jump in?
Yeah, so as I told you guys when we covered the story earlier, I used to live literally 2 blocks from this apartment building. And Miami is in a world of hurt. And there's a specific design flaw that Anna's gonna tell you about in this building. But one, how many buildings did that developer build in that same area? And number 2, part of the issue is on top of everything else, the steel, the concrete is getting battered by salt water and the humidity of Miami. And that's also having an effect. And because of climate change, and Biden mentioned that today in regards to this building collapse when he was talking about it. It became big news, like, whoa, is that controversial for him to say? It's not remotely controversial. There's more storms and more of the issues that are creating the flooding that is sometimes happening that's making the situation worse.
Right.
And in Surfside, along with Miami, they actually have sunny day flooding. That's what they call it now, okay? And so that definitely makes the situation worse and worse.
Exactly. So let's talk about how the building was built, because design matters, and there was a massive design flaw regarding the pool deck, right? So the pool deck was built on a flat concrete slab. And that is a problem, because anytime you're dealing with water, you need to have somewhat of a slope, obviously not a significant slope, but enough of a slope for water to drain properly. If it doesn't drain properly, that's when you're gonna have water leakage, which can then seep into not just the concrete, but get to the metal rebar and then corrode that metal rebar, which is a disaster because that entire level is actually holding the entire building up. So Danny Rivero, who's a local reporter in Miami, he's a reporter for WLRN, spoke to Slate. I'm gonna read you his statements because I think he put it well and it'll help you understand what went wrong here. There were structural deficiencies identified that probably went back all the way to the construction of this building, and a lot of it has to do just with the fact that the pool deck was built flat, which is a huge no-no. And so he's asked why? Why is that a huge no-no? You don't build flat because water accumulates on flat and then it will seep down and cause structural damage. What this engineer, and he's referring to the 2018 2018 engineers report found is that going back to the very beginning of this building, basically, they built a concrete slab that was flat for the pool deck. And what that meant over years and decades is that water, as it accumulated from the rain or from storm surges, which happen every once in a while, it was seeping down into that and causing changes at the geologic level. This was accumulating under there and causing issues on the pillars that the entire building stands on. So that's a huge part of the issue here, right? There was a huge deficiency and design flaw in the way the building was built in the first place. And then there are all these other factors that further exacerbated the issue, including the storms, the climate-related weather conditions, and the HOA found through that 2018 report that they had to do literally millions of dollars of repairs to right that wrong of the design flaw. But there were many condo owners who didn't want to pay for that because it was very expensive. Understandably, you would have that reaction. And so for a few years, they were just kind of going back and forth about whether or not they would do the repairs in the first place.
Yeah, and obviously in hindsight, we know they should have, but there's one other element to this. Apparently the city came in and gave them a recommendation. It's not 100% clear yet, but it looks like they might have minimized the problem. If they did, then they're gonna have liability issues too. Because if you're in an HOA and they say, okay, now you owe us $25,000 because we got to redo the pool deck, etc. You're hurt, dog, right? And you're like, well, I don't know. And if the government says that it's not that big a deal, you might think, oh, okay, then it's not that big a deal, right? If they said,
exactly.
If the government says, oh, no, you don't get it, this thing could collapse, then you'd be like, okay, it sucks, but I got to give the money, right? And so we'll see. Let's see how it plays out. We don't know exactly what the city said. There's some initial reports. Thanks for watching The Young Turks. Really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.